probably much more drawn to those grandkids than to staying in this beautiful state of Colorado.
The grandkids carry a lot of weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of weight.
Especially when the diapers are full.
All right, welcome back to the Real Estate Huddle, and we are here on episode 78, and we're going to talk about the average home buying age, home selling age, and really it's the changing landscape and challenges that are coming in Colorado and in the housing market right now. And so obviously, you know, average first-time home buying age, I remember when I first got into the business, I think it was around 28. And then it kind of drifted up, you know, and started to rise a little bit. And it's been at 33, 34 for a while now. And average home, like first-time home buyer age jumped to 38 this year. But what like is amazing to me is just the overall average buying age and average selling age in the country has shifted way up, like 7 years up this year because of affordability. And so, and there may be some other factors too. But what do you guys think? Average home buying age. Well, I already told you guys, so you know. Let's just be real. So I'll just come out and say it.
Hey, listen, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you think the average age is right now in the country for a home buyer? It's actually up from 49 last year to 57 this year. 56, sorry.
56.
So 56, 7 years up from last year on our average home buying age. And then the average selling age in the country is 63 years old. That's who is moving right now. And for the most part. And so it's pretty incredible. You know, we're still seeing, like Chad, you mentioned you're working with 4 different buyers under 30 right now that are moving. And so there's some really impressive young people that are getting going early. But a lot of the population is buying at
How long have you been working with those clients?
Just this year. And to your point earlier, some fall out of the system when they realize the cost. But, you know, interest rates have ticked down a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Maybe that's enough. But anyway, I'm mostly celebrating the awesomeness of these younger people getting started now. That's the message.
No, it's awesome to see somebody that young realizing that there is that home, you know, American dream to buy a home and understanding that.
I had a tear
So,
in an eye yesterday. I'm like, oh my God.
you got to commend their you know, financial responsibilities that they've taken to be able to get to that point. So, which is good. And how much further ahead are they going to be buying 8 years prior to the norm?
Work on that math for when I
home
make
values
this.
have doubled in the last 8 years. So you think about that, right? You bought a home for $450,000 8 years ago. Now it's worth $9 million.
Yeah.
So
I just happened to go through some numbers and wrote down some things. So the average home, let's say you bought a $600,000 home in Denver, you average about 3% appreciation a year, and you put a 3% down payment down. So 5 years later, you've got about $50,000 in your loan balance paid off of your principal. 3% appreciation, you've got about $100,000 in appreciation. So in 5 years, you've made $150,000 in equity that you can actually get to. Not to mention the tax savings and some of the other stuff, the pride in ownership and whatever else you do with it. So think about that for a second. Is take someone who's 30, who's, I'm guessing their median income is, you know, in the 70s or something like that. You're going to make an extra $150,000 in 5 years, and you're doing that with a payment that is going to be similar to what they were doing with rent.
yeah,
So
it's true. And I want to submit that I think that one of the biggest reasons why there's been such a change in the home buying and home selling age for real estate is mindset. I think mindset's a big one, and experiences that people have had with that generation.
What you were talking about earlier, which I think I hadn't thought about, but it makes the most sense when you're talking about like the age bands of boomers and X, etc. When you get into, what do you guys call them, millennials? Yep. You've never known a cycle where the mortgage payments weren't in the 4s.
the interest rate was like 4 and 5%, right?
Yeah.
Whereas we all joke about our parents at the 17, 13, but
what
my
was
first mortgage payment was 8.
Yeah. What was the price of the home?
Yeah, fair. But just the optics of the rate is what we spend a lot of time talking about.
Yep.
And I think that's huge. The optics of a rate, that's a good way to explain it. But I think that you're like, that generation in the kind of Gen X and baby boomer range, they get it. They've seen it before, and so it's not that scary when they see it again, and it's not that like just like repelling, when they see a rate like that.
Well, maybe think about that. So we talked about the age of the seller being 63, and that's Colorado, or is that nationwide? It's probably pretty similar.
Nationwide.
A lot of what we've talked about in other episodes is, I'm not selling my house now because I don't want to lose my 3% mortgage to go into a 6. But again, if you take that learning and you're someone who's seen when they were 8s and 6, if they get to 6 again, that's probably not the sentiment they're feeling. Like, no, I'll get rid of that because I want to move.
Yep.
Right? And 6% is a fair rate. Or many of those cases, what does rate have to do with it? Because I own my home.
Yeah, it's completely
I have
paid for.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, and average, home buying age in Colorado compared to the rest of the country. The rest of the country's at 56. Colorado's at 47 years old. So a little bit younger, and I don't know really why that is. I mean, we live in a market that is less affordable than a lot of other areas in the country, but maybe, I don't know where we fall exactly. Obviously, in the median price of the country, we're way above that, like almost double that.
Yeah.
But
One example, like when I was a younger man, I lived in Northern California, a lot of the tech, plenty of money to be had. So that is a younger wealth source, younger group of wealth moving from California here, where comparatively we feel is pretty affordable here.
yeah,
There's not that many places that
It's
we
all
can say
relative,
that.
right?
To California, anyway, that's going to bring younger buyers to Colorado.
yeah. Well,
On the
I
average.
think the fact that we're a growth market too, that we go up on average like 6 to 7% on average each year.
Yeah.
Like I think that inspires a lot of people to buy because they realize like they got to get on this wave before it runs away. And so I think that's like the fear of missing out sometimes that does that for people, and
That's
that's
a common symptom of millennials.
yeah. Oh yeah, FOMO is real.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
For
you
sure.
have that younger generation that brings down that average to here in Colorado. I think we got a lot of people, a lot of younger generation that are just wanting to get in because they know that they could potentially miss out.
Yeah.
I'm one of them.
Yep.
I'm afraid of missing out on everything. So.
For sure. Yeah. No, and I think, people in their 30s and 40s, they're grinding, they're trying to work through their career stability, their family life, kids in sports, club sports, it's just everything that I'm in the thick of right now. Like, I think it's a grind each month, to keep up, and they're just not, they're locked into a low rate and not really planning on moving a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so you've got that, but then you've got right when the kids get out of school, which is, ironically, 56 to 63 for most people, right? Our average home buying age, average home selling age in the country. Like that change of life, like when all the kids are gone, like that's why I think you're seeing more of those people sell their bigger house,
Downsizing.
downsize or change locations
Yeah,
to a
just
less
lateral
expensive
move, yeah.
market. Yeah, because their income's kind of going downward. And so they're trying to get to a less expensive spot. And I think that's why you see more of that happening at that age bracket too. It's life circumstances, mindset, the optics of the rate. And I think that the other thing is just affordability overall. They've had longer to build up the nest egg. So
I think we joked more than a few times about people from Colorado tend to come back to Colorado. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe we should stop saying that because kids in their 20s, 30s, this is a very expensive market.
Yeah.
There's lots of reasons not to come back. Now let's look at their parents who are 63 years old. They own their house entirely. They're moving out of Colorado more than they're downsizing within Colorado, I would think. Again, I shouldn't pose it. But that's the point of that is it's a little harder to come back to Colorado and buy when you're 30 now than it was 15 years ago.
totally. Yeah, definitely.
I hear a lot of Tennessee. Well,
Yeah,
I've heard 3 Tennessees in the last 3 days.
Yeah, we got some neighbors that are looking to possibly move to Tennessee. It's a great market right now. You can get a lot of house right now
Yep.
for the money. Big bang for your buck for now.
Totally. I
got
just
a-
sent a referral off to Knoxville last week. Yeah.
Got a Southwest Airlines pilot friend who's selling here to move to somewhere around Nashville because it's less than half as expensive.
I mean, like, if I'd live in the Smokies. Like, I mean, the only thing keeping me here in Colorado is family. So, like, because I've got so much family here, it's hard to leave. But if I didn't have
What about
family
us?
here, I could do real estate in Tennessee, no problem. You guys are disposable.
Tell us
No,
how
but
you really
like,
feel.
just like, you know, I think, yeah, I'd live in Tennessee in a heartbeat, quite honestly, if I
Well,
didn't have
so
so many
that's-
things
that's-
tying
You kind of
me
look like a Tennessee guy with your flannel.
Certainly with the
Yeah,
hat. What do
maybe.
you got, Murdoch?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
Fit the
there's
picture.
a handful of trends that are at play here. It is expensive here. Quality of life is pretty darn good. But if you're 63 and you own your house outright or have very low mortgage, and there are grandkids starting to show up in a different state, probably much more drawn to those grandkids
Yeah.
than to staying in this beautiful state of Colorado.
Grandkids carry a lot of weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
A lot of weight.
Especially when the diapers are full.
I was going to say, no, they're not that big, 9 pounds.
Definitely. Yeah. I won't go into that. Yeah. I was thinking about times where my kid was in a car seat and dropped water all over himself. And then they get really heavy for sure. Those things expand. So as far as real estate goes in our market, like how do you guys think it's affecting supply and demand with the changes to the home buying and home selling ages?
I think the people who are looking to buy at a younger age are looking for different things than your traditional home buyers. So Denver just allowed ADUs or accessory dwelling units. That's kind of a new thing that people are starting to go through. So you're going to see that become more of a selling point for homes. That way people could have like a long-term rental or Airbnb and try and generate some extra revenue that way to help cover the gap in the mortgage. I think you're going to see the mortgage industry try and shift to be able to account for that rental income to offset that debt to income ratio. And as that catches up, I think a lot of folks are trying to do that. I know some really savvy folks that have lived in the bottom basement level of a home and rented out the upstairs and completely paid their mortgage by doing that.
Yeah,
So sacrificing the quality of life gets you to a financial reward a lot faster.
Is that really sacrificing quality of life? You're
Well,
still
I mean,
this beautiful.
Yes, but the more you sacrifice, the more you can live. Like if you're going to buy a 3-unit house and live in the ADU, that's only 700 square feet. When you've got a 4,000 square foot home, like some of these properties we've been talking about.
That's why I drive a Subaru.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Sacrifice quality of life.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to say to the buyers out there, like, so that's part of what I'm so impressed about these young people because they're thinking about that.
Yep.
They get the math. They understand buy the larger asset, see it, appreciate quicker, rent it out to your close friends who aren't quite as far along savvy as financially speaking as you are. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have to get your parents to co-sign that loan to get that larger amount, but you're good for it. They know you'll be good for it because you're going to rent that out for $3,000 a month to offset your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's brilliant thinking. I'm so impressed by young people thinking that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to be so much further ahead. I mean,
Do
you
your math
that,
again there.
Yeah,
do it when they're 25 and
Yeah, by the time they're 35, they'll have a net worth of $1 million.
yeah.
They don't realize, even though they don't have as much money at that point, it's never easier than when you're single without a spouse and without kids. Like, as far as like making money in real estate and starting yourself off in a great spot, right? So it's
And
nuts.
Well, lifestyle creep, right? I mean, if you drive a 10-year-old vehicle and you go drive a new one, that 10-year-old vehicle sounds horrible in comparison, right? So if you can keep that 10-year-old vehicle for a little bit longer,
Start driving it.
yeah, just don't drive the new one, right? So the same thing with like 700 square foot ADU, that's what you're living in. Those are the types of things that the longer you can hold into that and do that and still live comfortably, you're going to be further ahead. So,
Yeah. So your original question to that was, how is it affecting inventory, right?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, I think with all that, I think the simple math of a lot of this is there's so much equity that people have in their house right now, and cash on hand isn't as frequent as it was a couple years ago, right? So I think there's a lot of people that are like, we got X amount in our house right now. Like, why don't we just sell it, move to a smaller place?
Yep.
Now we got a bunch of cash on hand that, you know, we've saved up from our previous house, and we can just kind of like quality of life, right? And just sacrifice living in the bigger home to live in something that fits you just fine, but it's smaller, maybe more affordable, depending on, you know, where rates are at. But I think people are really tapping into the equity in their home. They're just wanting to get as much cash out of their house as they can, and without doing a HELOC or refi, stuff like that. So I think we're seeing a lot of that, especially with the older generation, for sure.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that have the most equity,
Definitely.
almost always.
Yep. And we're seeing inventory slowly rise. I mean, we're up 47% from last year. So that's not even slow. That's pretty quick. But this year, it's just gone 200 homes a week. 200 homes a week.
Yeah,
It just keeps trickling along, but it's consistent. And
fast approaching the busy season.
Yep. The supply is just
Yeah.
outliving the demand just a little bit because of affordability. So that's the trend I'm seeing. And I think that'll start to take more effect. Either one of two things is going to happen in 2025. Rates are going to come down substantially, to like 5.5 to 6, to where now all of a sudden the inventory is being gobbled up and it's going the other direction. Or you'll see if rates kind of hover and stay the same, then you're going to see inventory just trickle up and up and up and up and up. And then I think we're going to see a really soft market in that summertime, like the summer lull. August, July timeframe is when the market tends to take a setback, but I think it'll be a larger setback if that does happen. So I'm leaning on the first one. I think rates are going to continue to trickle down and we'll see more inventory gobbled up. But one of two things could happen, and economists are half the time.
I've given up projecting anything anymore.
Well, but logic says when they trickle down, there is a point where people who still have mortgages and they do want to move, but they don't want to give up the 3 to go to 7, they'll give it up to go to 6.25. So there's a whole lot of pent up supply that's been waiting too. And if the supply comes in partnership with the buyer demand, it should be a very vibrant market, but still stay in somewhat balance.
I don't know. I think the amount of potential energy that is building up within the buyer pool could easily destroy the supply
very quickly.
Easily.
Well, we had rates at the end of the fourth quarter of last year for 10 days. We were down. We had a 5 in front of it, and we lost 20% of our inventory in those 10 days. Like everything went under contract.
And mine's more anecdotal as far as like what I'm seeing in my sphere, but like it's just like it's like buzzing. Like people are just like, it's almost like this frustration, just tension, just ready to burst. And
you guys ever get letters just out of nowhere saying we want to buy your house?
I keep getting texts.
I've gotten 2 letters in the last couple of weeks.
I'm getting the same text from, it's probably a spam one, but it's like, we have a buyer interested in your home. Click on this website. Never click on the website.
Get some creative approaches by buyer agents. Where do you want to be? Let's see if we can't create a listing that doesn't already
I would
exist.
also say 90% of my mail is like, refi this. HELOC.
Yeah.
Home equity loan.
For sure.
Stop.
Well, interesting factoid here, because you were talking about how inventory is going to be replaced, right, by property supply that's going to come on the market if people buy, and this shows that still may be slowing down a little bit, because 2024 brought first-time home buyers accounting for 24% of all U.S. home purchases, marking a historic low and a significant decrease from 32% of the market being first-time home buyers in 2023. So lowest we've ever seen as far as first-time home buyers buying homes, the percentage of those. Usually first-time home buyers are between 35 to 40% of the market, and they were down to 24.
That tells me that the rate is the most important variable, and if we get a little better on the rate, then that's going to blow
You
up.
get 10%
And
of
that's
the market
what
back.
he's talking about.
And the pent-up demand. You get 10 to 15% of the market.
So I'm saying,
back.
here's my thing. Like if I'm a first-time home buyer right now, put myself in their shoes, right, and I see 6.5 for the rate right now, and I know all my realtor buddies are saying rates will come down, and they're projecting that, and you hear everybody saying rates will come down. I'm literally
And
going to say,
economists, not just the realtors.
right, and economists, I'm going to say, I'm going to hold out till I see a 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my projection is when we see a 5, I'm not going to say when it's going to be because I have no freaking idea at this point. When we see a 5, it's going to be extremely hectic market.
Yep.
Well,
Potentially like COVID style market because
I'm going to make a bold prediction.
okay,
Whoa.
Buffini, let's hear it.
Bold prediction. I think we see a 5 by the time this video is posted.
So 2 months from now? Okay.
This is February.
All right.
Hey.
In
Okay,
it-
here's
You're on.
Here it is. Here it is.
This is 2 4x4 burgers at In-N-Out on the
No,
way.
no, no, no. This is you moved to Parker.
I don't believe in it that much.
so
But 2 burgers from In-N-Out?
That is.
I got you. I got you.
That's a bold prediction.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Yeah.
So based on that, it's too
I'm gonna
late
get
to
you.
say this.
I don't know how, but I'm going to get you.
It's too late to say this if it's going to be that long before this shows. But the opportunity now is go buy. We have leverage with the sellers. We'll get you a lower rate, but you got to buy now because in 3 months, 2 months,
Everybody else is going to be buying.
competition is going to change. The thing.
There's nothing more annoying than having a multiple offer situation for a first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through it with some that we put 14 offers in and did not win on any of those. It was a 15th one that finally got accepted.
But it'll definitely
So-
make me want to be a seller's agent again.
Well, and I think we were.
I mean, I'd love listings
I
for
think
sure.
We
on
all
that
thought
side.
2 years ago that the 2-1 buy down was just foolproof. Like it was perfect because rates were going to be in the 4s by now again, and it just didn't happen. And so I do believe though that like if you buy it with a 2-1 buy down, meaning you temporarily have the seller pay to buy your rate down 2% for the first year and 1% for the second year, based on closing costs covered by you. So it takes about 2% of the loan amount to do that. I think if someone does that now, they're going to be pretty happy in a couple years. I don't know if it's going to be a fixed rate where, you know, the 2-year mark is, but I think that they'll be able to, after the 2 years, refinance and be pretty happy. That's my other prediction. But
There's no.
That's
There's
not so bold. Just
Yeah.
saying.
the only absolute that we as realtors have is that we do not have a crystal ball. That's the only absolute we have.
Got a magic 8 ball, but it doesn't
No,
do
but
the same.
we can
And-
read the economic forces, and right now there is a
But Chad, here's the problem. I mean, you dig into the data as much as you like. You're like, no, things are trending downward, and then the Fed's like, we're raising it back up again. It's like primary rates up. Like,
hey, we're on a heater right now. 5 days in a row, business days in a row.
Yeah.
Rates have gone down.
we were on that like a couple months ago too. And we're like, this is it. This is happening. And then they're like, I don't think we want to lower the rates right now.
Hey, today's March 4th. By the time this video is posted, we'll know who the national champion is for basketball. We will have a rate in the 5s, and Spencer will be buying me 2 In-N-Out cheeseburgers.
and we're all witnesses, so we're getting them too.
2 different times.
Twofer.
We're going, and then we're going again.
He's going for
We're
4x4s.
going in and out, and then in and out.
That's right. It'd be like 2.5 hours of total wait time.
Download a movie.
Not at the one at Parker. They're super efficient.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
The one at
everything's
Parker's
better
really
at
good.
Parker.
Yeah, it is. Just
You can get
and
in
it
and out
tastes
pretty
better
quick.
too. The local
Yeah.
beef in Parker is really good.
I believe you.
Yeah.
How many rec centers do you have?
We have 2 going on 3.
Okay. All right. Really? Is there a third one being
I
built?
think
He had to say
they're-
that. He's just trying to
They're
show
adding,
off.
if I remember correctly, they have approved something additional to the
catching
Parker
up.
Rec
We're
Center.
catching up.
Better up our game.
Man, this is
Well, I will
scary.
say, I'll give you this. It's not part of the HOAs that you're in because there's like 50 different freaking HOAs in Parker. So
Yeah, there you go. They'll eventually
because
join
we're
forces.
a town. That's the thing is we're a town, right?
Seems pretty scattered.
Versus what?
Versus a
So you went-
glorified subdivision.
He used that 4-letter word again. Yeah, go figure. So the Highland Ranch actually has 5.
Comes up
'cause
somehow.
You got the
somehow
back.
every episode.
Yeah, you got the
It'll be a
outdoor
constant
backcountry.
rivalry.
Hey, I put in for my elk permit in backcountry, so
In the backcountry, huh?
yeah.
You can get an. I guess so. Yeah.
See, you can't do that in Parker.
And you just shoot it on your property. You sleep in my front yard.
At all in the backcountry. You can?
Yeah.
With a permit. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's something our viewers didn't know.
Yes.
Because I didn't know. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, let's wrap it up.
Right there.
As always, we
It's
are
nice
real
to
estate
live in Parker.
professionals.
It's nice to live in Parker.
We appreciate you listening. And if you are aging
Like
and have not bought a house yet or sold a house in a while, then we want to talk to you. Actually, if you're any age, we want to talk to you, especially
After listening to this podcast, you might be feel a little bit older. So
yeah, not even an especially. We'll work with anyone, won't we, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Subscribe, and we will see you next time. So if you have enjoyed what you're listening to and you'd like to hear more, make sure to press that subscribe button so that you can not miss out on any more episodes that are coming up. And also check out all of our contact information is below. You can see us at the dreamsmithteam.com to look up more information about our team and our history and all of the members of our team and see contact information that you can reach us if you have any real estate needs.
See you next time.